Boom! Welcome back to the 21 Convention 2022 of Orlando, Florida, being held at 21 Summit, 16-year anniversary of the 21 Convention and 21 Studios. Our next speaker is a returning speaker to 21 Summit and the 21 Convention. He's actually one of the most popular speakers we have ever had. On our channel alone, 21 Studios, and his videos from previous speeches, they have about 8.5 million views now, which is huge. One of the biggest speakers we've ever had. And he on his own has over, I think, 300,000 followers on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all over the place. He's the author of Free Agent Lifestyle and De-Evolution. He's a good friend of our event, one of the best speakers we ever had. Please help me welcome back to the stage, Coach Greg Adams. Welcome back.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me back, brother. All right, here we go, man. This is gonna be just like a live stream, which you tune into me every day. I produce about 6 hours of content per day on the weekday. I mean, I'm on, all right, pushing content, edits, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm a 46-year-old man. I mean, I'm in a territory, I'm in a game that's a young person's game, but I've turned into trying to bring a message to men to give a little bit of understanding, some wisdom, background information, a little bit of history. You're gonna get a history lesson today. All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit. It's gonna be some things missing. You're like, what about when, coach? All right, no. But we're gonna talk about dating, right? Dating, relationships, marriage. This is kind of how everything works, right? This is what makes the wheel go. You can be, you can have your career and your job, but sometimes you want your little sweetie and you have this biological urge to procreate. Mother Nature gives us all of these things, they develop the woman and put fat in areas where you like them. And they hype us up on testosterone and then they completely make her delusional, right? And then we got to counter all of that with this heightened sense of, I need to procreate. I need to go ahead and smash them guts. You know what I mean? I need to bust that nut. It's just a whole convoluted situation where it should be easy. Dating should be easy, right? It's easy. You like me, I like you. Let's just make a happy home. But how many people in here, just a show of hands, no, you don't have to admit anything. How many people in here are dating? You can raise your hand here. You're in the dating marketplace. We have a couple people here. How many here are married? Oh, I got something for y'all too, so don't worry about that. We got the married folk in here. How many people are celibates? You're celibate? Okay, nobody. And how many people buy a bit? Okay, yeah. You all buy a bit. We're just gonna go ahead and tell you that right now. All right, if you married or dating, you all buy a bit. We're gonna clear that up. But let's talk about this. I think this is always an interesting conversation. For people who are in the dating marketplace, there's a lot of things people can give you information. This is how you can be a better man. This is how you can be a better woman. This is what you should accept, not accept. This is how you should go about presenting yourself in the marketplace. There's a lot of things going on. You got coaches. I'm not a dating coach, but I kind of just look at the environment and give men the best position for themselves. At least give them a reality check. A lot of people think I try to correct women, all right? I'm not in the business to correct women, right? That's like herding kittens, right? It's like going to the bottom of the ocean with a mop and trying to just mop it dry, all right? That's not what I'm trying to do, all right? Now, listen, I don't try to change them. I just tell them what they are, and I describe them. It's not anything that they can try to debate. They might feel negative about it, but I'm not trying to hurt their feelings. I spend a lot of time around women. When I was a college basketball coach, I coached women's basketball, okay? I traveled with them, I was the only male. When I was a head coach at Division II, I was in charge. I was an associate head coach at a Division I university, so I was next person in charge. And I did that for about 15 years. Then I also have 4 sisters. I also had a wife at one particular point, and I have a daughter. So I spent, and a mother, obviously. Spent a lot of time with women. Now, I'm a Libra. I like things to be straightforward. I'm very logical. I don't like to play games around there. We balance the scales. Just give it to me straight, ma'am. Sir, just give it to me straight. I don't have time to figure all of these things out, and emotions aren't a big thing for me. So I'm gonna just say that right now, because people can use emotions to manipulate. Manipulate. We're not great at emotions. I'm gonna just let you know that right now. As men, we don't thrive in that environment because we're not social creatures per se. We are, as human beings, pretty social. But in terms of women, they are very social. They have to run in packs. They have to protect themselves. They actually be able to have to pass information back and forth to each other just so they can stay on the same page, or what we call on code. So when they manipulate, it is not evil, although some things can appear evil. They are doing it for their survival, right? That's why they're doing it. The same thing as we use some sort of rage, or we make ourselves bigger, or we look to appear bigger. This is for survival. And if they can't manipulate in a certain instance in dating, they don't survive. And the game of life is survival of the fittest, okay? Pass those genes on, okay? The strong survive. And that's what this dating game is about. But unfortunately, for the people who raised their hand that said they were in the dating game, man, is it tough or is it easy? Anyone want to just say, raise your hand if you were in the dating game and you say it's completely easy. You're out here with layup drills out here. Slam dunk. All right, no, they didn't raise their hand. Is it difficult, confusing, convoluting? It's a little weird. It gets a little weird. So we're going to take you to my interpretation, my historical presentation on what happened to dating. Normally in my show, I have a soundboard. I actually have two. And I would be playing noises right now as I'm talking, and I miss that. Because I would be hitting you with the Undertaker bell right now. But it is what it is. Okay. The day that dating died. Apologies if there's any errors in spelling here. All right, so if you've enjoyed my show, I've taken you through this chart, which is the shark-infested waters of what I call the iceberg theory of dating. Okay? And what you'll see over here is right there on the far side, which will be on your left, post at the bottom. People miss that part, so I just have to highlight that. Pre and post. That refers to your nut, your orgasm. Okay? See, pre-nut, this is what men look for. These are the things that are important. Sex, availability for sex, access to sex. Is she sexy? You also will look at attraction. Ooh, wee. Or I'll have her for a night. However that is. But these things are important. Chronological age seems to be very important for men, and this is biological, okay? Although the current world, we're going to talk about this, why they killed it, is they're trying to change all the rules of nature. And they're trying to put it on you because they can change the rules because you're horny. And you'll adapt to whatever the rules are. That's called Brifolt's Law. Women set the rules of association, men follow. Okay? And so what they're doing is changes the rules. So chronological age was important. It isn't now for simps or men who can't control their biological urges. So now, you are over here, men. You see, you say this is you. And this is before you nut. You're in the boat and you got a rod. Hopefully all you got one attached to you right now. You're gonna throw your rod out there into that ocean. But when you have no clarity, you haven't busted that nut, you're not in your right mind. Biologically, the blood goes from here to you know where, so it can function. So when the blood leaves your brain, okay, the blood leaves your brain, you're less logical. You don't think. You will make mistakes that you wouldn't make when you were in your logical mindset. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So that's what you got your rod out here. Now, obviously there's danger out here. Don't lie to yourself. There's a lot of things that can happen to you just by engaging in the female with the female here, dating. You have societal pressures, okay? That can be just about anything from Me Too, assault allegations. Is your girl attractive? Do you have the right type of girl? Are you going to marry her? Are you going to make an honest woman out of her? She been ran through more times in the Holland Tunnel, but you can make a hoe into a housewife. I mean, there's a whole bunch of bullshit that we got to deal with, right? But that's society, okay? Whatever you do to mess this up, it's going to be your fault, Jerome, whatever your name is, it's going to be your fault. You didn't make this work. You violated her. She didn't feel good. She didn't feel safe. Nothing's going to be her fault. It's going to be your fault, okay? Next thing is the government. See, government smartened up around the 1900s, and they said, we need to get involved in every single one of these relationships, okay? We need to get involved, and I'm going to show you how they got involved early on in the transactional relationships and marriages, okay? So you have the government that's obviously going to get involved to play the intermediary. They also can benefit financially from these arrangements. They're going to get involved. STDs, obviously, you have that to worry about. Anytime you don't strap up, you're taking a risk. Anytime you mess with somebody who's promiscuous, you're taking a risk. Although that's not a problem in our society today. Historically, we've gone over that. Don't worry about all that. We got a cure for all that. You ain't gonna die. We just let you live with it. And it's not her fault, it's your fault. You didn't keep it in your pants. Although women carry more STIs than men. How do we rationalize that? Isn't that weird? What about this? Pregnancy. Obviously, if you knock her up, it was your fault. You didn't keep it in your pants. And many times, she will encourage you to almost complete the act of pregnancy, and you will do it. Don't worry about that, Robert. She don't ask. Oh, she didn't ask. She put on the condom. Oh, she didn't ask me. Okay, I'm going to go in and run that red light. All right, you getting your couple of thrusts in. She feels you expanding width-wise. She knows what's about to happen. She said, Daddy, let her rip. Go ahead and let it go ahead and go inside. Oh, baby, she whispers right in your ear. You about to get that last couple of thrusts in? Just let it roar, Daddy. Roar! You on birth control, right? Oh, you ain't? Oh, you're not ovulating, are you? Oh, you are. Oh. Now you want to shoot first and ask questions later. See, now if she gets knocked up, it's your fault. Should have asked her all of that beforehand. You should have known about her reputation, right? Now you got to pay, or you can be excommunicated from that family. She can say, well, now that I have the baby, I'm just going to go ahead and take it. You fight me for it, right? These are a lot of the things that we try to work backwards. Last one is marriage. That's the danger shark. So if you do engage in a marriage, the government's going to be involved in it. So is the rest of the society and the community. Everybody's going to be involved and invested in your marriage. And many people that don't have access to women will use marriage as a way to access the woman. Okay? Especially early on. If he was horny, there was a lot of times you just couldn't go get no woman like we can do today. We could just get on swipe. All right, let me just go ahead and fulfill that need. This is a new time. Before, there was a lot of things in society would tell you, you have to make that girl an honest woman. She's not a hoe. She ain't no 304 in these streets. So you need to do your best in order to get access to her, and you will say, I'll do whatever. This is pre-nut. Okay? Now, post-nut is what we call full clarity. This is when you've achieved your nut, right? It feels good. Now, the things that woman is going to now affect you in a major way. And a lot of guys underestimate these things, but they become important after you've achieved that. All of a sudden, you're worried about these things. All of a sudden, these things matter. Now, for the woman's defense side, they're going to say, well, you should have asked me these things, and why did you do this? And you should have told me, and it's your fault. If she's the little cray-cray, right? We deal with the little crazy cones, right? But is she marriageable material? One of the things I hold men accountable for is to stop talking shit about women after you fornicated with them. That's one of the most worst things I can, as a man, you the one piped her down, but now you got all this smoke for her, and that's because you can't manage your pre and post-nut clarity. So I always tell men, nah. Don't talk about her now, she yours. Okay? And you piped her, so she ain't no hoe. You a hoe, all right? Or where does that leave you? Go ahead and actually have accountability there. Physical health, obviously, we got a lot of overweight women in here. We're going to talk about that. Emotional age. There's several ways to manage age or measure age. Chronologically, you look on a calendar. When they born, where they at now, okay? Then their physical age. There's a lot of people that are a certain age and say, well, you don't look 56. You don't look 46. You don't look 23, right? That's because we measure age by a calendar and we actually try to associate development with that age. And not everybody falls in that. So that is called physical age. Then you got emotional age. Damn. People do not match their age emotionally. Women typically stop developing that emotional age when they physically develop. They say women start maturing faster than men. How many people have heard that? They mature earlier. Yeah, but they don't follow that all. Go ahead and follow that shit all until 30 and 40 and see where we at. All right, because what happens is when you start to achieve success, you tend to stunt your development. This isn't just for women, this is for men. Basketball players, football players, it happens to them on the men's side. They reach great heights at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and then they're still walking around like they're 16 and they're 40. Women do the same thing. In middle school, they'd be like, hi, teacher, I'm doing well. Hi. Oh, look at the girls. They're so mature. Well, it's not maturity. They just scared of looking bad. But we make that maturity. They're scared of the one to be just out there breaking the rules. We come in for physical education class, talking about we scored a triple-double in PE class. We don't care about behaving well. But the women tend to carry that on. They call that maturity. Then they start developing after middle school, and then the maturity probably stunts. So that then she's 40, and then when it's time to act emotionally, she might break down and cry like she's in middle school, right? And they'll say, I don't know why I'm crying. I know why, but I'm a misogynist if I tell you. This is what it is, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, you haven't emotionally matured, okay? But it's okay. There's a variety of things that we pay attention to now. You could say number of sex partners. These become important after you pipe her down. You realize she's been in these streets. Now you're gonna call her names. There's a lot of things that we talk about after the fact that we need to start improving on. You need to ask these people before the fact. Why not investigate this? Why don't you do your due diligence? Now, I know women got smoke for men in the dating marketplace, but they got a right to because you're practicing this, okay? You think these people are all good, but you're not really investigating them. Now, I know it's hard. You see the booty. Them titties jiggling, right? It's hard, I know. But at the same time, if we manage our side of the game, we'd actually make the game a little bit more fair. So it's not all women's fault. We actually bring a lot of smoke to ourselves. All right, let's go down here. If you guys want to check that out, I talk about that quite often. This is the marriage wheel. It's a little bit blurry, but we talk about how men get involved in these marriages and why the divorce rate is actually a lot more than 50%. These are people who legally detach. They don't talk about the ones that the woman told them to look over that cliff right there. You see how far that is? Yeah. If I drop you, you assed out. She just showed you the ledge, and you'd be like, God damn. So down there, I don't get to see my kids no more, huh? And I get to lose my house, huh? And the car, everything I work for. It's cheaper to keep her, baby. Happy wife, happy life. We could just be roommates, as long as it gets. See, that's probably additional 25% of people. Okay? So the divorce rate, divorce rate is way higher than it actually is. But people don't mention it. So I tell you how you got into that. The connection phase, she tickled your balls and you liked it. She gave you access. Hopefully you investigated her. Most men don't. And then you get into the investment phase and you're feeling good. You think you're doing the right thing as a man. We're going to talk about that in the dating. I'm doing the right thing by society by doing this. And then you say it's a rite of passage as an adult, as a male. I need to be here for my family. I need to get the house, the car. I need to make sure her hair is did. She got the weave on point. I got to make sure we go on family trips so we can get the fake book pictures. We got to do all that. We got to send the kids to the good school, move into the neighborhood and whatnot. That's the investment phase. This is the phase that most women look to achieve in the transactional relationships of marriage. Because if you don't invest, very few marriages are going to go past this, right? And she's got to know you're going to invest. This is the wheel you're on. This is why she says, do you have a good, stable job, sir? What do you see yourself in 5 years, sir? All right. What type of kids? How many kids you want to have, sir? What neighborhood do you like, sir? Public or private school, sir? These are all inquisitions into investment stage. As a man, we have to know this is coming up. If you fail in this endeavor, well, you're not going to have a good long marriage, okay? Don't listen to this equal partnership bullshit. That's feminism. We'll go over that, okay? Now, next one is going to be the bait and switch. Obviously, this is when they say, well, I would never do that to you. And I'll always make you ham sandwiches. And I'll never restrict sex from you. And I'll never go in to your children and I'll never take your children from you. I would never divorce you. I can't even understand why women do this. I can't stand those women. I'm not like those. And then she becomes that. This could be as simple as you like long hair and she chops her hair off. Or she blows up like the Goodyear blimp. Like she was thin and now she's not. Do you still love me though? Well, I guess I have no choice. Yeah, I love you. See, these are the things that's going to happen. Now, do men bait and switch women? Women come on my channel. Men bait and switch. We're not talking about me. I know. You want me to always talk about you, and then I'm talking about you. You want me to talk about it. We're talking about you. I don't date men, so I'm talking about I date women. I don't talk about what I know. Or a lot of things could happen in the bait and switch. Now, in the bait and switch, she then says, well, the next step is disengagement, which is divorce. And you either accept me or not, okay? And then you get caught up in, okay, baby. Or you say, man, F all that. I'm a man around here. I'm going to stand on my two, okay? I'm going to stand on my square. You do what I tell you to do. Now, you better hope that she says, okay. Because if she doesn't, then you go to the next step, which is disengagement, okay? So more than 75% experiment with disengagement or they go all the way through, okay? 50% we know legally. They say paper. But there's another percentage of men that say, I want to stay for the kids. I don't want to lose my house. It's cheaper to keep her. So they stick around and they go through this and they avoid the disengagement. And then at some particular point, this is where men screw up amongst the other screw ups. It's the go your own way or the reentry. What is the second marriage divorce rate? 63%. Third marriage is 70%. It's damn near a guarantee. And those are the people who legally divorce. These are the people who say, there's not including the people who are thinking about it. Many people in second marriages, they essentially say, oh, fuck it, I'm screwed. All right, everybody knew I lost my first wife. If I tell them I lost my second wife, then it's a reflection on me. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put up with this bullshit, okay? Now, these second and third marriages blow up quickly, like in 2 to 3 years. It's already done so. But you re-entered and then you started back here. And then you went through this. Now, some wise men come along and say, oh, hell no, I learned once, that's it. Those are the men they call bitter and hurt. Oh, you just bitter and hurt. You just mad? No, I'm smart, okay? I realize I ain't going through that shit again. And I'll just go ahead and find another way to live, which I then go back to the dating marketplace. Oh, the myth of romance. Again, I'm telling you, I'm a non-emotional guy, mostly. Is it a thing? I don't think all men should be non-emotional like that. I could be missing out on some things. Could be missing out on that. Them nice legs and wrapped up in the spirit of lust. You know, being dumb. Doing things that a smart person wouldn't do, right? You know, a smart person would say, that would be dumb if you did that. Well, when you're in the emotion, it actually makes sense. And then when you're not in that emotion, you go, damn, I was dumb, right? Like putting your name on the same bank account. Like, would you do that to a perfect stranger or a person you didn't know for long? You wouldn't do no shit like that. But you would do it if you're in the emotions, right? So the myth of romance. I don't know if you know, if you haven't seen my show, I talked about the myth of romance. Romance is a concoction that's been created, somewhat prostituted by entertainment, pushed through marketing campaigns and companies towards you to have a certain reaction that's right off the tip of your tongue. Diamonds are oh, you knew it. Every kiss begins with, all right. Flowers, chocolates, and no. There's another thing you're gonna give her. Flowers, chocolates, and a little stuffed teddy bear, right? These are all things that kind of go together. You'd be like, oh, damn, I forgot Valentine's Day. And your dumb ass is gonna go get what? Flowers, chocolates, and a teddy bear. Here, honey, I remember that I planned this shit. Because it's a fail-safe. But we've all been programmed to have these things through entertainment. And this has started way back with novels and theater. William Shakespeare and the likes use romance as a way to depict tragedy in comedy. He didn't write these plays to say, this is how we should present ourselves as men and women. He said, look at these dumbass teenagers. They willing to off themselves over this dumbass emotional shit. Look at these guys. And it was comedy. This is why you have romantic comedies, rom-coms. They come strictly from that age. But rom-coms to us, oh shit, Hitched. And The Last Maid of Manhattan or whatever these things that they do. Sleepless in Seattle, right? You go, oh man, oh, is that what happens? Oh, we're supposed to do this and that's supposed to do that. Oh my God. That's all fantasy. And it sells. It sells very well. But unfortunately, we hold ourselves to these standards in its mythology. It never was intended. I know this is a little bit non-emotional. It never was intended to be that way. Should we have these feelings? Yes, we should have these feelings. But then these things are predicted through advertisement men or ad men or what you would probably know as mad men. That was a take on ad men who advertisers created scenarios predictably that you would respond to that would make sense. And then when we come together, we bring the romance together and it should work easily, right? But it doesn't, okay? Chivalry, we hear these things, right? There's no such thing as a chivalry where the guy's just walking around trying to put coats over puddles, right? This is not real. Now, out of respect, I'll pull out a chair. Here you go, okay? Out of respect, open the door. It would be the polite thing to do. But these are things described as chivalrous, which chivalry was not even related to that one bit. I mean, that was a very small part. The rest of it is you're going to have to go chop somebody's head off, okay? And it had nothing to do with a woman. So these are all myths that when you say, well, I'm just not going to buy into that anymore, you're the bad guy. You hate women, you hate men, what's wrong with you, you bitter. No, I just decided that there's another way in life. And that's my point of this show, is to not complain about these things. I show you there's another way to live this life, okay? And men lived it way before we got to this point, okay? We've just been indoctrinated. We've been coached into having these things. And guess what? No matter how bitter you think I am, most people are failing miserably at this. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed fail. Okay, you don't believe me. Okay, how many people are here are married? We got a couple of brothers here, okay? When you got married, you don't have to answer this. Was that the only person you dated? Probably not. You dated other people before that, and it didn't work out. And you ended with this one. Okay, let's get the married people off of. The people who are unmarried. You probably have a woman in your life right now, but technically, according to society, you haven't won yet. Some of y'all got 0 women right now, And I want you to take a piece of paper out, just briefly jot down everyone you've dated, everyone you've had a crush on, everyone you've took for a date, everyone you've kissed, everyone you've hugged, everyone when you wish you would fornicated with, every woman you fornicated with, any woman that you've seen and you lusted after, so forth and so on. Use your paper front and back, and then draw a line at the bottom. Tell me how many you with today. 0. A big fat O, in which we call Owen. You're an Owen. That means you Owen 50. You Owen 100. You ain't succeeded yet. Okay? So this is the type of reality that I look at and go, wait, what are we doing? Now, that might not be failure to you, but in the grand scheme of things, romance-wise, in marriage, it's supposed to last what? Make it last forever. That's how you judge it. You don't judge it on temporary. Oh, I had her and I don't have her no more. I had him, but I ain't got him no more. I was married, but I ain't married no more. Or I just got married and it's going great right now. We don't judge marriage on how long it lasted. We judge it, did it last forever? And that's how we're going to measure it. If it didn't last forever, it failed. So many people go through these endeavors to try to make it work. And the frustrating thing is, that's how we judge it. We think we're a failure if we're not winning in this game that is somewhat rigged. You've been pushed and pushed and prodded. You've actually created your entire life around this thing. Many men have created their entire image around these things, dating coaches and Max and I'm the man because I get these hoes. Okay, great. Casanova. Okay, pickup artist. And also, a lot of women will say, I have invalidated myself as a woman because I don't have a man. That's changing, though. That's changing. All right, so what we got here? Let's go through the years. History by CGA. I have a tweet, and it said, 1910, courting replaced dating. And around 2010, 2012, dating, prostitution replaced dating, okay? So we're going to get to that, the day dating died. So we have the Victorian age and up until 1910. You would have this thing called courting. Courting. Dating almost was not a thing. There's no such thing. What is dating? Ask somebody during these years and say, what is dating? Again, dating is a marketing concoction to believe that you're going to look for someone for marriage, which definition-wise, that's not true. We'll get to the definition of courting here. It says, be involved with romantically, typically, with the intentions of marrying. That's what courting is. And the courting process happened very, very relatively small in small communities, not big, large cities, but we started to develop that. But the courting age was when you introduced you made your intentions known. It says intentions. You were interested in them romantically, and you were willing to wait and do whatever you need to do socially to not ruin that woman's reputation, right? Okay, so you did courting with family. And the family came around. Oh, I see Brother Greg likes Sister Sherry. I think maybe we can put something together. Why don't we bring the families together and get the brothers around and get the intel and the information? And you show up. Hi, brother. Hi, father, future father-in-law. And everybody knew what was up. You might go down to Lover's Leap, you know what I mean, and try to, stick something around. Oh, no. How dare you, sir? I'm not that type. Everybody playing the game. This is all courting. And you court, and you put your best foot forward. You're always going to put the coat over the puddle. You're always going to open that door, especially when family's around. You ain't going to do that. And if you actually ruin this reputation of this woman, you had a price to pay. You had to pay the piper. Hey, man, you pipe my sister down? I know where to find you. Yeah. Oh, you're going to have to pay that piper. You couldn't just run through no girls. You trying to court them back in this day? This was not a thing to do. So what we have here is courting. And this is the part that we miss because dating replaced courting. Okay, dating replaced courting. Okay, most of the time in courting, there wasn't this need to impress financially. Uh-oh. You had to have your best foot forward because the woman was almost considered property at that point. Yes, we've come a long way. But we had to put our best foot forward. Hey, what do you do? Well, I have a farm down here, or my father has a farm, or I can do the best on your farm, right? You had to actually bring something to the table to get access to this woman. Now, of course, we knew some women were a little bit fast, and they let you romp and roll around in the hay with them. And if you happen to skeet in her guts, guess what's going to happen? They either going to come for your family, or you're going to have to do what? You're going to marry her. Oh, shit, you skipped a step? Oh, you marrying her. What did they call that? A shotgun wedding. You skeeted in my sister? Make an honest woman of her. See, these are all the things that we used to do not that long ago. And that somewhat ended around the year 1910, okay? We know that there was some hoes back then too, but we ain't gonna mention that. You know what I mean? Hoes had to stay a little bit underneath. You know, hoes couldn't be out there. Today, hoes can be out there. We be seeing hoes everywhere. And if you're a young guy, we didn't used to see hoes out here like that. But hoes be out here just bold. You're like, damn. But this is a new thing. If you was a hoe or a skeezer, we call them skeezers back in my day, you had to be a little bit, or your reputation is ruined. And not only her reputation, well, her reputation is ruined, your reputation is ruined by associating with her. Not only that, her marriage prospects have decreased significantly if she stays in that community, okay? Her reputation is done, and she's gonna have to go to another city. That's just how it went. Is that what's going on today? That's significantly different. You see these hoes out here right now in the open. So now what happened next? People was like, this courting bullshit, right? People can actually see through me, or they can read me like a book. I don't want my daddy to know I'm out in these streets. And I don't want other men to know that I'm piping these girls down. So I'm gonna make this a little private now. We're not gonna make this public. We're not gonna let the church know that we're seeing each other studying, we're going steady and all of this bullshit, right? We're just gonna do it privately. Now, once this happened in our society, many municipalities thought this was weird. You know what they called this in 1910? Prostitution. They were like, you can't take no strangers out to no dinner? That's what hoes do. You can't do that. What you doing walking around with this girl buying her gifts and chocolates and roses and shit? No, what is this shit? Many people made that illegal. It was seen as a big no-no. You going to dinner with who? And you haven't introduced her? No. Matter of fact, during this time, you could even go to a hotel and check in with that girl. Well, we call that the snooty fox and all the shady pines and all that shit. But you couldn't go to the hotel with no strange girl. Is this your wife? No, this ain't my wife. What? We call on the police. See, dating was prostitution. Any act that was seen as you're transporting, or you're meeting a person that is a complete stranger and you're romanticizing them and you're going public with it out in these streets, you're not married to her, you're giving her gifts, dinners, flowers, and whatnot, that's called prostitution. And there was an act called the Mann Act that actually was put into place in 1910 to inhibit this. Y'all can't be out here in these streets like this with these women. So what we're gonna do is, if you put her in a car and you drive her to this county to that county, that's prostitution, and we can arrest you federally. You cross interstate lines, federal prostitution ring, all right? And what they were trying to do was protect women, right? They don't want women to be exposed to this type of lifestyle. It's gonna ruin their reputation. It's gonna increase the single mother rate. You're gonna have these women out here wanting to do this, and they peacefully start itching. They wanna be out here too, having some fun, but we can't have that because that would crumble our society. So in essence, dating then replaced the courting process. Marketing-wise, the admin said, well, let's uphold the restaurant industry. Don't you want to take your girl out to somewhere special? That is the pimp, okay? Because in order to get into the women, they said, you got to take me somewhere nice. So the restaurant becomes the pimp. So does the diamond dealer. So does everywhere else. They become the pimp. They're the middleman into you transacting with that woman. So she might not directly benefit financially. You might not put money in her hand, but you put money in a pimp's hand, you put money in a restaurant hand, you put money in the nightclub hand, you put money in the alcohol distributor's hand, right? So these are all things that were considered a transactional relationship. It was looked down upon until somewhere around, see here. By the way, the Mann Act says it's it criminalized the institution or the transportation of any woman or girl for the purposes of prostitution or debauchery. The transportation of any woman or girl for the what? That's called dating right now. Or that's at least called Tinder. But in that time, that's how we looked at dating. It crossed the line, but we normalized it. Okay, so let's go in here. And of course, we already had like women in there that challenged this idea were called flappers in the 1920s. Anybody heard of the term flappers? Sounds like a weird term, right, for you young people. But flappers challenged that. They were the younger generation of women that challenged the ideas of these things, right? Your great-grandmama was probably a flapper. She was in these streets. Don't let your grandmama fool you. Your grandmama was, I want to marry just like grandpa and grandma. I want you guys to count your aunts and uncles. Highly likely that one of them ain't blood in that family. That's just a secret. Don't. You be like, so you must be my step uncle because milkman, food delivery man, pool man, personal trainer. Yeah, your grandma was in these streets. It ain't nothing new under the sun right here. All right, now all y'all, look, y'all gonna be looking at your grandma at Thanksgiving, counting your relatives. You got brown hair? We all blonde. It's you. All right, who your daddy? All right, all right, anyway. Oh, oddly enough, if you want anything on the racial line, and I'm gonna go over time, whoever's timing me, I'm going over time. Racially, did you guys know during this time, blacks were the most married group during this time? During this time, black Americans were the most married group during this time. Now that is a head blow. Boom! Because now they're the least married in this time period from that fast. So if you want to look at me and say this presentation was bullshit, nothing changed. What? I'm telling you how fast it changed. Blacks were the most likely to be married. They had the most stable households. Now, I know y'all want to call me a liar, but damn. Okay? All right, let's go to the next one. In terms of impressing her, didn't take much. You can go out and get a banana split. You can drive down the drag in your little town and drive up and down in your Ford Fairlane or your little Chevy that you've been working on. That would be a nice little date. Could you take a woman out for this date right now? I mean, if you were Pookie or Ray Ray or Chad or Tyrone, you might be able to get away with this. But if she's not really sexually into you and she's bored, all right, I'll go out with you, CGA. Where are we going? We're going to go get a banana split at Frosty Freeze. That's all right. I'm not getting access. I'm going to have to figure out something else. But this would be a common little fun date. And it actually should be what dating is, right? Picnic basket and going out somewhere private, getting to know each other. But that's not what dating is today. Is that what dating is today? It is nowhere near that. It is straight up prostitution. Period. It ain't nowhere clear, I'm going to just get to know this person over a Starbucks and a banana split. What? She's like, I ain't doing shit. You need to take me to X, Y, and Z, right? You need to impress me. What kind of car you got? Prostitution. Where restaurant are you taking me at? Prostitution. Okay? Am I going to get anything? How much money you make? Prostitution. Right? This is all important things, but now we've just put it out on Front Street, and we call it dating. Okay? 1960s sexual revolution. It was the original sexual revolution. You had a lot of people, particularly women, didn't want to be stay-at-home wives anymore. They didn't want to be what their mothers were. And they tended to be a little bit more free-spirited. This is just a very glossy overview of history, by the way. And such, what they tried to do is extend their time just a little bit and have some fun. It was the second iteration of flappers for the free spirit now. So this is the next revolution sexually in which promiscuity could be extended out. Now, we're not talking about 50 or 100 dudes like today. A woman be like, so my body count don't matter. She been with 50 to 100 dudes. In the 60s, it wasn't like that. She was with like 5 dudes, right? In your area. She couldn't just get flown in, prostitution. She couldn't just get flown in. She couldn't just go from county to county. People didn't have cars that could go drive 100 miles away, right? And go to another area where you're unknown, into another populated area where you can just mix in. It wasn't like that. So she could extend it, but do you guys know that during this time, the average age of marriage, if anybody did have marriage, was 21. 21. So this is a different cock carousel. Yeah, she might have had a couple of bodies, but she didn't go to 28, 30, 32, 40, and then push her chips in and say, okay, I'm done. I've had my fun. Now I'm ready to settle down. I've had my fun now. And she 30, 32, 40. This shit is really different than the past, right? So you have this going on right now. And the reason why you probably had that is you didn't have Botox, titty implants, the miracles of modern science, where she could just stretch that shit on out. You couldn't freeze her eggs. She was like, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun, but I know where to close this down. Now you can just go forever. Have a baby at 50. Why not? Because you can. That's where we are with this. And this is kind of why dating has changed, okay? But not only that, there was no chance of her being a CEO or owning her own company or owning her own house or none of that shit. She was like, I'm gonna do all that, but I'm gonna go find me a good, honest man. So this is the type of stuff that's changed. And then thus we get into let's go into the 90s, and let's skip into there, since I'm running out of time, because we have the 70s and the 80s to talk about, which was more or less kind of where things really big change, because now we're in major cities, big populated areas. Nightclubs are a thing. This is when nightclubs became a thing. Nightclubs are not that old of an idea. They're fairly new in the measurement of time, but the reality is now they can just go out and party, and snort coke, and smoke out the weed, and clubs, Studio 54, and dress skimpy, get attention, get free drinks, and then work up the ladder of status in men. And now then it prolongs the settling down. Now you're getting to the average age of marriage, 25, and it jumped up that fast. But now there's still not a lot of Botox. Titty implants are coming in and all that stuff too. Okay, but we're living in a more promiscuous society, and the club promoters, the drug sellers and pushers, the alcohol industry, they're recognizing this, and they're marketing. Smoke cigarettes, you look cool, go out, nightclub. What do you do on a Friday or Saturday night? Come chase these hoes. What? Ladies' night. This is ladies' night, right? This is all shit promotion. This is all taking romance and just monetizing it. And these are the pimps. Pimping became a big thing around there, but pimping been always here because hoeing been always here, okay? But let's get to the 1990s and the 2000s. There's still a sense of scarcity among the genders. Typically, you remember your high school days. You had your girl in high school, and the best access that she had to another man was either at her school or the rival school, right? Everybody was always good looking at the other school. Oh, over there at Westlake, man, they got better girls. Over there at Westlake, they got better guys. And then that's the best she could do was just cross town when you played at the football game, right? Go see the other football play. Well, She had a limited time, she had limited community, limited choice. Thus, she had to cash in at some particular point. There was scarcity on her side. There's also scarcity on your side. These are the amount of women. Everybody kind of knew their place. You could basically say if you were a 5, you can just get with a 4 or a 5, and you could hit that reach, okay? For the women, same thing. They all wanted the quarterback. They might have let the quarterback skeet in her guts in the bushes at a party drunk, but at some particular point, she knew she wasn't going to get with the quarterback. There was a thing in the 90s for you young people called being sprung. Anybody remember you piped a girl down and she got sprung on you? Yeah, y'all don't have that no more. That's not that big of a thing because there's no longer scarcity on her side. And she can have promiscuity. That's all out of the window now. So she's like, hey, all right, you don't want to stick around. I gave you my body, but there's another dude over here. There's no more scarcity. There was scarcity. If you piped a girl down in the 90s, that was your girl. Okay? Because reputation-wise, she might think you might talk about it, but she was going to be with you, and you got her. Okay? And she might be on your answering machine. Hello, you didn't pick up my call. She might be at your door. Okay? She come to your door. She calling your phone. It's like, beep, beep. Damn, his line busy. I better go see what he's doing. Those were things that would happen. Very rarely is that going to happen today because there's no sense of scarcity. And there's also opportunities for her to be the boss bitch. She could be the CEO now. That's now possible. She can now extend her age, which we call her physical age, with what? Implants and makeup and these type of things. So there's no sense of settling down. By this point, we've gone from an average age early in dating, when dating became the thing, average age of marriage is now is 21, to now by the 90s and 2000s, it's 28. I don't know if you know about biology. That's not going to be good if she wants to start having 4 or 5 kids. She probably missed the window. At best, she might push out 1, maybe 2. Okay, now let's go ahead and go down here. Dong. We went through this part of the companies and everybody pushing dating so much that everybody thought they were entitled to it. And that men, all you supposed to do, men, you do this, women, you do this. There was actually a book called The Rules that said, we're going to wait 90 days until these dudes get right. Don't give them no peace leave for 90 days. Let them jump through all these hoops and hurdles. Do you know many girls waiting 90 days to give you 90 minutes, 90 seconds at this particular point? And dong, because you gave that dude some peace leave in 90 seconds. And now I got to wait 90 days? See, as men, we know that don't make no sense. We're like, that don't make no damn sense. But because we're desperate, all right, I'll do it. Right? And that's what weakens your positioning. So here we are with the death of dating, because it really wasn't a thing, but we made it a thing. We are now in the digital sexual revolution, revolution number 3. Okay, you had the flappers, 20s, 60s, the free spirit sexual revolution, and now the digital sexual revolution. What happened the day that dating died was the day they got that damn phone in their hand. When women got that phone, wrap. Now, 2010, significant, iPhone, their first and second editions came out. Not a big seller. People were still hooked on their Blackberries. I don't need no damn smartphone. I got a Blackberry. Okay? I just got this flip pager. I need that damn smartphone. What's the point of having that? Then they started inventing apps. What's an app? There's an app for that. Remember that shit? All that marketing shit. Then they came out around 2010. Instagram. Around 2010, 2011, 2012. Instagram comes out, which is basically a filter app. It's not really going to do anything. It's just you can take a picture, you can put a filter on it. That's what Instagram was. But it was only available on the smartphone. It wasn't available on the Android. They only made it available on the iPhone. So iPhone 1 and 2 and iPhone 3 and 4, They put millions of iPhones in people's hands because of Instagram and Facebook and apps that were only available to iPhone. And they pretty much sold 5 times as many iPhones that they did in 1 and 2. 3 and 4 sold 5, 10 times more. And with that came Instagram. What else came? Tinder. Right around here. Because Plenty of Whales was the shit on your computer. You had to get on your computer. Look at all them fat chicks on there. Damn, okay. You was on Craigslist on your damn thing, and then they had an app, swipe, swipe, swipe. You was like, oh, however you do it. You was like, yo, hoes, ooh, ooh, ooh. Now, did that make it an even game? Did women at that point, because this is just this isn't a complaint, did women at that point were like, oh man, we have all of these available options of men, and with all of this choice, it would make relationships easier. Have relationships been easier since they've had more choice? It's been the opposite. When they had less choice and scarcity, all right, let me just go on and get in. But now they have more choice, and these women still walking around, I can't find no man. But they will let you take them out on a date, prostitution. They will prostitute themselves out, and they will sleep with the football player in their DMs. It goes down in the DMs. Oh, I'm still a good girl. I'm not like that with you. You're going to have to pay. Maybe not me directly because I'm not that type of girl, but you have to pay the restaurant industry and buy me bottles of wine and upgrade your vehicle and upgrade your swag and prostitution. Okay? People don't look at it as prostitution. I look at it as directly prostitution. Unless I can walk up to her and say, hey, baby, I'd like to get to know you better. Will you give me some time? Be patient. I'm actually trying to get with you because it would be better if we can get to know each other during this time, and I won't date anyone and you won't date anyone. If we can take this time to court. How successful would that be today? It's a rarity for that to happen. She's like, you could take me out. And then after you drop her ass off, she 10 toes up. When you drop her off at the door. Okay? So we're in the digital sexual revolution in which now more choice has led to less successful relationships. There's more single women in this time with more choice, but more single women than at any point in the history of the United States. How does this make sense? This is actually weird for this to happen. Now we're getting into some weird stuff. How much minutes did I have? Yeah, we're gonna go over. Not only that, birth rates declined. You think all this damn fornication we got out here, there'd be babies popping out everywhere. Nope, not so much. We got condoms and they hopped up on hormone, birth control pills, and yeah, we just having fun out here. And then if there happens to be a baby, we'll just dice it up with custody time and all that bullshit. Okay. You have divorce rate skyrocketing, marriage rates plummeting, childbirth rate plummeting all through this time with more access. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay. Oh, also during this time, in a time where you have millions of people right there in the palm of your hand, you have dating coaches. Like, why would we need dating coaches if we got all this access? You see how flipped it is psychologically? There wouldn't be no need. In reality, there would be no need. It would make sense. Okay, I got all these people, shit should work out. But no, you have something else going on. There's a need for them. Because dudes are so distracted. Go back to the iceberg theory. People can't make this work. Go back to your sheet where I said, fill out how successful you are in relationships. Look at the bottom of your scoreboard. Owen, it doesn't make sense. And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because this is prostitution. Period. You can try to act like it ain't, but it is. And we've got to this point because we won't admit that this is pay for play. In every stretch of the imagination. And you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. People would have told you that in the 1910s when you were courting, but y'all trying to turn hoes into housewives. We're in the monetized woman now. So now it's straight up prostitution. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. See, in the dating game, in the digital sexual revolution, She got on Instagram and she banged a couple people and she got ran through more times in the Holland Tunnel. You got some peace leave. Everybody got some free sex. Everybody got their scare, their pregnancy and STD scare, and some people got scared straight, right? And then she's like, well, shit, I done already had the biggest and the best. No, that ain't it. I already dated some rich guys. That ain't it. I need me a good, wholesome guy that I don't have a lot of sexual attraction to, but he got money. Maybe that'll be it. And they still trying to figure this bullshit out. And they're prostituting themselves. Not to the point now, we have phrases in our society that we will not link to prostitution. She got flown in or out. I mean, by every stretch of the imagination, that violates the Mann Act. That violates the Mann Act. That would be a federal crime in 1910. But people do it all the time. You're in the airport seeing hoes. She getting flown out. Somebody paid her to appear. Football player, basketball player, whatnot, musician. Oh, this person got flown out. And we know what happened. Debaucherous behavior, according to the Mann Act. We also have the boss babe career woman. Now, we already hear this woman got a business idea and she's going to be a eyelash swindler or whatever she's going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm an entrepreneur and all this. She trades Forex and she got a podcast and she's also a model, which is a prostitute, but that's a little hard for you guys to grasp. So I won't even go there. By definition, they are literally selling their body to market. I mean, come on. I'm not mad at these girls, by the way. Again, I'm not complaining about them. I will have these girls 10 toes up. But I'm not marrying you because you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. I always stay with the standards. But I will clap them cheeks. I'm just letting you know. But anyway. We also have sugar daddies. How common is that phrase to hear sugar daddy? Like you wouldn't have heard that shit in the 90s. But you hear it now, oh, sugar daddy. Oh, maybe I think about getting the sugar daddy. Times are tough, economies, give me a sugar daddy. All right, these are things that people experiment with. And many colleges have done data and said at least 10 to almost 20% of their student body population has sugar daddy apps. Now, these are your neighbors. These are your nieces. These are the girls that you work with. Oh, she's a real estate agent. She drives a Mercedes-Benz. She must be very successful at her job. I've never seen her close a deal. Never seen her have an open house. She's probably successful, though. Yeah, she's owing, and she getting her cheeks clapped for a little bit of money, and she goes over to Vegas during the weekend, and she got all these trips on Instagram and shit. You're like, damn, how in the hell? She eating lobster and shit. You're like, what? She prostituted herself, and we're afraid to actually address it as that. And then she could get offended. But it is what it is. We participate as, on the other side of prostitution, we're Johns and tricks. Okay? Every sense of the imagination. If you go on a date, you're a trick. Because trick means deception. And she's deceiving you. She mostly don't like you. She's just hungry. Okay? So that's trick. You're a trick. Okay? You just put the money down. You thought she was interested in you, and she wasn't. And then you go to your dating coach and be like, what happened? You a John. She got the money, and she got the easy way. She didn't even have to open her leg. It's just what it is. Okay? Be mad about it if you want. We also have OnlyFans. So it's hard now. You're a guy. I make $60,000 a year. I'll take you out, and I'll wait 90 days. How successful are you going to be in this market? It's going to be tough. You make $60K? You're broke to a lot of prostitution-oriented women. You're broke. Man, you ain't competing in this marketplace. She like, dude, I could jump on OnlyFans and make 60 grand a month. You can't do shit for me. Is that a good, honest woman? Is that a bad bitch, boss babe? Is that a wife, potentially? They all kind of play with these things. If they don't outright get directly benefit paid, what do? They get the attention from it. Look at my bikini, and they'll post it on Instagram. and they'll trade that for likes and attention, which is prostituting themselves in a sense until they get to the point where they can monetize themselves. So it gets a little bit tough when we're in the monetized woman. And again, people might think this is criticism of women, and it simply is not. This is where we are. It's hard to deny this. And it's hard to really accept it because you're participating in it as a John. Okay? Unless you're somewhere where you have met that girl and you courted her in the sense of we're going to understand who each other are, we're going to meet each other's family, and we're going to go down the lover's leap every now and then. You might get a little stank on my finger. We're going to kiss. We're going to go out. You're not dating another guy. No. I'm not messing with other girls, which would be called courting. Everything you're doing is dating, AKA prostitution. Period. Okay, here we go right here. Pair bonding. There's data that would suggest, specifically for women, that they lose the ability to pair bond the more times they let dudes push their insides to their esophagus. Okay? They can't love you no more. They've been imprinted. And they also know that's available to them. So in the case that they do say, well, I'll marry you for the investment, they will miss getting their insides pushed to their esophagus. They're going to miss it. And they actually had a series called Sex Over Life on Netflix. Just watch it. It basically says that. She was in these streets, being a prostitute. She got married to the nice dude, the executive with the house and the white picket fence and the 2 kids, and her peace leave was itching to be back out in them streets, and she destroyed her entire marriage. This is what happens when we skip the pair bonding session. This is it. We might think that we can go out here and have as many women as we want, and she can go out and have as many men as she wants, and you can come together and make it work. Is it working now? See, you might say I'm lying, but it ain't working. That's the truth. And people are frustrated, but they're trying to do this. We have things. Now let's go into the future. And Anthony, I'm sorry, I'm going over time. I'm good. And I'll save time for questions. What's going on in the future? You're like, Coach, what is this, man? All right, I got some good news for y'all. The future is here. The barbarian's at the gate. Okay, what's going on in the future? Have you ever heard of this term? Ethical non-monogamy. Have you ever heard of that? I was always ethically non-monogamous. When I was a young man, nobody ever made a phrase. Nobody ever said, let men be ethically non-monogamous. Even when she knew you had other chicks, it was very unethical for you to be smashing her, right? Come on, man. But now we have ethical non-monogamy. Who does that benefit? Men or women? That's a phrase that benefits women. So they can be out in these streets and they can have multiple men serving multiple purposes. We were always we had to be unethically non-monogamous. We wanted multiple women, but nobody would come up with a phrase for that. This also benefits the rainbow community. We call it the reading rainbow community. Most of these things will have a theme and you'll follow it. The gay community has brought a lot of these things in, and women have piggybacked on it. Okay? Ethical non-monogamy. That's the future. That's where we're going. No, they ain't coming back to you, oh, all right, we'll be righteous women. Oh, no. It ain't going there. Okay? The future, single old women, a lot of these women gonna be ended up alone, and so are you. But you gotta change your mindset because you can end up old and alone, but you can still be out at the junior college if you got a little bit of money. Because New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, they look at prostitution like this. They don't see it. When was the last time you heard of a prostitution sting in New York? They let them hoes do that. And why? They piggyback off of the rainbow community, gays, because this is how their community works. Not only that, underage young boys get exposed to older men in that community. So they start looking the other way. They will do the same for men. Let these girls get flown out. Go ahead and pay these Instagram models. Go ahead and get your OnlyFans. We don't care no more. They don't care. So a lot of these women will end up, they don't see the trap, they'll end up single and old. What else is the future? Have you ever heard this term, polyamory? Again, this is something that the rainbow community has brought forth in our society, and women have piggybacked on it. This sign says, I love my girlfriend's boyfriend. This sign says, sharing is caring. Monogamy is not for everyone, and this is the truth. But when we was out there trying to get all these hoes, they didn't change the rules for us. They changed the rules for them. And now you'll play the game because Briefhold law says women create the scenario and men follow. And so you will have a man married to a woman, she has OnlyFans. What the fuck is that? What? So am I married to a prostitute? What are we doing? Is she a sugar mama? What is it? Like, what do you define that? Well, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. He's secure, and she's good, and they have children. They don't know, and she's a good, righteous woman. She's a Christian, and what the hell are we doing? This is the future. And you'll accept it, because we have. Not only that, you will have a situation where you know your girlfriend got a sugar daddy. Trust me, I've been playing this game. They'll be like, yes, I'm in an open partnership. This is my partner. But he knows I have to pay my college tuition. He sits online and he streams on Twitch, and I go get my back blown out, and I bring the money home to us. Bruh, this is where we're going. Before we even, listen, for us to go all the way back, we're going to have to be throwing sticks and stones at each other. We're going to have to nuke everybody and go back to sticks and stones and hunting and gathering because we're pushing these agendas forward. And I don't know if you know, many places, they're pushing it hard. And a lot of women are watching this. Now, a woman might not say, she might be one of these women that claims, I can't have multiple men that I'm sleeping with simultaneously. But she can also have the work husband. She can also have a great relationship with her hairdresser. She can have a male personal trainer, a husband. She can have a sugar daddy on the side, and multiple variations of relationships that you have to be secure in. He's just my personal trainer. He ain't like that. And this is my homie that I went to school with. Don't worry about him. This is also my boss. He pays me to be absent from you in the hopes that he will continue to pay me. Don't worry about him either. We work late nights together. This is my hairdresser. This is my girlfriend's boyfriend. Bruh, she can have a full out girlfriend. Well, she's not piping me down. She's just a lick 'em low lover. You understand? See, this is where we at. And this is what's going to be the future. Sure, you'll see heterosexual couples, just like you'll see happily married couples. But when they go behind closed doors, you don't know what the hell people are doing now. Okay? You'll be like, Coach, you tripping. I see couples all the time. Yeah, I just saw a woman. I just was on a podcast yesterday. She was a married woman, been married for 20 years. She had an OnlyFans, and I met her son, who was a teenager, and her husband. I'm like, the hell going on here? Okay? You know what also is the future? Oh, man, the metaverse. Shit, I don't even got to leave my room, put my goggles on, and jag on off. I can have me a whole damn girlfriend virtually. And she could be right there. Got my goggles on. Woo-hoo, she thick, right? When they have this metaverse, I mean, we're already living in the metaverse. If you have anybody that's under the age of 15, they've been born in the metaverse. You just think this is something new. They've been doing this, okay? They also will have pornography. They will have OnlyFans on it. They're gonna have girlfriends, and you're gonna be doing it, and it's going to be transactional. You might even have a wife in the metaverse. You can sell homes in the metaverse. Why not have a wife in the metaverse? Okay, so this is where we're going on all of this. But I say live the free agent lifestyle, right? That's what I promote. And if you ever forget my name, remember that. That's something that I came up with. And that's basically kind of a protest as to where the direction is going and looking out for myself, because everybody's looking out for themselves at this particular point. Why should I put myself and my finances and everything else and risk it for the chance that this 35-year-old woman who's been piped down for the last 20 years is gonna love me? When I say 20 years she's been practicing it. You ain't got nobody to touch your leg till you were 24 and 25, and you had to do a whole bunch to get that, didn't you? You had to jump through a whole bunch of hoops and hurdles. Well, she's been already practicing this already. She has a leg up on the game, if you will. All right, this is where you find me, Coach Greg Adams, here on YouTube right here. That's the flagship channel. I only post edited stuff there, but my Free Agent Lifestyle channel, I stream on there every weekday. You can also find me on the Free Agent Lifestyle podcast, which is basically a replay of my live streams, available on SoundCloud, Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor. I'm waiting for Spotify to drop that bag on me. And I will be a polygamous fool if they drop the bag on me. If they drop that same bag they dropped on, what's this dude's name with the Joe Rogan? I'm gonna act a fool out here. I'm gonna let y'all know. Y'all ain't gonna know. They'll be like, Coach acting up out there. All right, these are my books, Free Agent Lifestyle. I wrote a book, but I don't know how to read very well. But Free Agent Lifestyle is my book. That's the main one right there if you want to understand the philosophy of male empowerment, essentially peace, quiet, and freedom. What all men want. That's what you want. You want a woman, and you want her to bring you peace, quiet, and freedom. Well, probably not. You're going to have to give that up. Actually dated a woman once, went on a date. She says, what do you want? I love peace and quiet. And she got triggered. What the hell does that mean? Because she knew she couldn't bring that to me. She knew she was going to bring full-on chaos into my life because that's what they do. So she was like, peace, quiet, and freedom, what the hell you out here dating for? You better go pay somebody for that. Well, now I can do that. Okay. Anyway, De-Evolution is my other book right there. And then there's my website. Thank you very much, man. Let me know if you have any questions. Any questions out here? Any questions? Don't be shy. Yeah, go ahead. I went overtime.
Hey, appreciate the sharing there, CGA.
Thank you.
Have you heard this latest news about the Democratic Party where the women are saying if the men won't vote the way they want the men to vote, they not giving up any for JJ?
Yes, I have. Man, I'm going to tell you, bro. And they call it no voting, no vucking, but you know what that means, right? And so the Democratic Party basically, I don't like to get too political there. I think black men in the Democratic Party have never been a match, but that's just me. But as you can see, they went to the one thing that they think black men value most is then that's sex. All right. And so in order to do their bidding, they leave you alone. And then every year or every 2 years, midterm election, any presidential election, they will start to focus in on black men. And that will be probably a month before the election. So they'll say, get your booty to the poll and let strippers fall down poles and say, get to the boot. You want to get to the booty, get to the poll. They will say, if you want access to these women, you're going to have to go ahead and vote the way we want you to do. And I think it's something that men have to recognize is what's going on. If you accept it, that's fine. You're accepting a subservient position in your community. That's what you're accepting. And you're accepting it based on lust. So it was a dating app that pushed these things forward, but it's nothing new. Joe Biden has done that with his associations with Cardi B and all of that stuff. Of all the men all the people in the community you can associate with, you go on to Charlemagne the God and Cardi B. I mean, the low-hanging fruit, the bottom of the barrel, basically the bottom feeders, and that's who you're pandering to. That gives you a sense as a man of what your value is. And you have to change that up. The only way you change that up is you actually take the power back, and you have to control your lust to do that.
So historically, to like continue on with the next generation, families have been very at the center of society, and we as you talked about, I mean, marriage, divorce, in that whole marriage wheel there. Yeah. It's really difficult to do in this country. do you think America has like a future as far? Because I mean, eventually, like we're all going to be a bunch of old people and have and there's going to be no like young people.
Yeah.
Or do you maybe think that like other countries, I mean, might be better off? I know Poland has like LGBT free zones where they don't allow that. They try not to allow that culture in those areas.
Right. Yeah, that was the LGBT thing. I don't have any problems with people how you participate in the bedroom because I sure wouldn't want to be judged on my debaucherous nature. However, it was a slippery slope. They invited you in, oh, they just love each other, let's get married, and then you see where it went. With that being said, women tend to lean on that side, and then it influences how we do. In terms of family, you're gonna hear a little bit of doom and gloom. Without family, there's no community. Without community, there's no tribes. Without all of those, there's no organization. There's just chaos, okay? And if we don't go back to family, community, tribe, and whatnot, how do you have a country? All right, there's levels to this, right? So you have yourself, then you associate it, then you have your immediate family, then everybody in your family wide, your second cousins, that's your tribe. You guys all make a community. The communities make cities. Cities are parts of states. States are parts of nations. Yo, we can't even get the damn family together, bro. We can't even keep the immediate family together. And then you know what I find odd is that when we look for solutions, we work backwards. We start with the state, we start with the nation. They have the answer. Then we start with the state. They have the answer. And the cities need to do this. And the community needs the next. And then you go back and then we doing it backwards. I mean, listen, I do have a little bit of a God complex, but we're doing it backwards. We need to start first with our associations, then with family, our immediate family, keep those intact. Black community is always the microcosm of the greater world. Whatever they're doing, we're going to be doing. So if they got transgenders doing backflops and dancing in front of kids at their preschool in broken homes. Remember, I said in the 50s, they had the most stable households. If the black community is doing it, it's going to get to the rest of the community because black people are very influential. All right, for a small group of people, we influence almost everything in this nation and around the world. And whatever we're doing is going to be seen as trendy. So if the black women are being Jezebels, if the black women are being sapphires, the other women are going to be like, oh, that look cool too. I want that. So when you see the black community get together, then you know we're headed in the right direction. So as long as they going backwards, the world and the rest of the nation going that way too. I know black folks hate to hear that, but it is what it is.
Okay, hope you have time for one more.
I do, yeah.
So I was going to also follow up with the family issue. For guys who, I know not every guy cares about children, wants to have kids. Do you have kids?
I do. I have 2 kids. Yeah.
Okay. For those of us who care, do you see any hope? Do you see any tactical stuff we can do?
Yeah, men really have to take the society by the bull by the horns. Men need to lead. And women will ask men, you need to lead. And they'll rebel the entire damn time. And like, look how much energy you want me to put in this issue. All right? My word is bond. Listen, I ain't got no time for this. All right? So, but anyway, it's a little bit difficult. Men need to really grab the bull by the horns. We need to stop with the lustful behavior, which is difficult, I get it. We also need to actually have standards in our society, which we've been encouraged to have less of. Remember, average age of a woman was 21. That married, 21. Now it's like 30. Now, when I get up here and be like, yeah, she passed her prime. You know who gets mad? Men. Men will fight me. When I'm trying to create a standard for y'all, I'm like, bro, don't y'all want these young piece of tender? You want this leftover ass woman? Titty sagging and all this shit. She been ran through. She got other 2 men, other babies. Y'all defending this? See, I'm trying to bring the standard, and then y'all go in with y'all eraser. Well, she good enough for me, man. I like her like that. I like them sloppy and soggy. That's where it is. I think men need to keep the standard. We were the standard bearers. We're the protectors. I love the idea that I can support a woman. I'm going to pay for the dates. I'm going to pull out chairs. I'm going to do this. But you know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to set the damn rules. Okay? You ain't going to be no, okay, but we're going to be in an equal partnership. I'll bring you, I'll spend your money and keep mine. Yeah. I'm going to girls' nights out. And I'm going to see my sugar daddy. And you see what I mean? We allow so much bullshit. And we, again, Brief Host Law says that. We need to actually do the opposite of that.
Agreed. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, man.